So now after all that, she's all back together. Now I'll hook it all back up and make sure it still works. First up is going to be this old audio deck. Made in Japan. So, I've already opened this up once and I know it needs a belt because the belt's actually broken. So I went on Amazon and bought this belt assortment for 16 bucks. I'm pretty sure that there will be every single one in there except the one I need. Just my luck. But we'll open it up and see if we can match it up. Okay, so here's what we've got. Here's the belt out of it. And I was correct in assuming that my little kit here comes with every friggin' belt except the one I need. This has got a long belt. It's a 2-belt system. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find the short belt in the kit. But this long guy, not a chance. I pulled out the remains of the 7135 Alpine, and it looks like the same belt would probably work on both of them. So when I buy the belt for the Alpine, I tried to buy it on eBay, but the guy's on vacation and not accepting orders right now. So I'll probably buy 2 of them. I'll put one in this and one in that, and we should be back up and running. Today the parts for the Pioneer KP500 came in. I've bought new old stock parts for cars before, but I didn't know you could buy new old stock parts for old car radios. Anyway, I found this stuff on eBay. This is genuine Pioneer stuff. So we'll be able to replace the treble pot on this, and we'll throw a belt in it, and this thing should be working just like new when we're done. Let's open her up and get to it. So just by removing a few screws, you get all the covers off and get this baby down to pretty much nothing. First thing we're going to do is see if we can match up a belt for it out of our conglomeration of belts over here. So this one's pretty simple. You just remove 2 screws, you flip this cover back over, and here's the belt here. So we're going to pull this belt off and see if we can match it up. You can see it's just it's just stretched out, it's sloppy. So we'll get one that fits a little tighter, and that should do the trick. Alright, we got one that fits a lot better in there. And that's that. The belt has changed, so I'm going to button this back up and we'll have a go at the treble pot. So I remove these 2 screws, which lets me get this circuit board off of the chassis. Now we're going to remove, I started by taking off the spindle nut that holds the treble pot on. Now I'll take these 3 off, and then I can get this metal plate out of here, and that'll give me a little bit better access at this. Here's the 6 joints we have to desolder. This could use a little bit of cleaning to this board, couldn't it? And then we'll get that treble pot changed, and this thing should be good to go. So here's the 6 joints we have to desolder to get the treble pot out. We're going to be heating them up with the Weller old soldering gun and using this Amazon desoldering pump. And hopefully we can get these things cleaned off and get the component out. So it's out. So here's the old one with the busted off shaft. Not much use for that. And here's the new one. We'll feed it through and get it soldered up. This is going well. Okay, all done. It's a little bit ugly, but it's back together. Should work. I'm going to put it back together now and we'll test it out. Okay, so it's all back together. Let's put it through its paces. This here turns the radio on. Stereo mono switch. Doesn't, oh, it works. Look at that. Stereo light went off. Stereo's back on. Loudness, I'm not sure if this does anything or not. It actually does. You can hear the tone of it change. Oh yeah. The only one I'm not too sure about is this mute button. I think the switch is shot, so whatever it's supposed to do, it doesn't do anymore. Anyway, I've got it hooked up to a pair of old 40 watt MEI 3-way 6x9s. The balance is a little crackly. The balance pot probably needs cleaning or changing. I'm not sure what you'd do with that. But when you set it in the middle, it's perfect and it's quiet. Bass. Then our new treble pot. Perfect. So now we'll pop a tape in. Sounds pretty good, eh? Fast forward. Now on these things you have to hold the fast forward and the rewind button. They don't latch. Eject. No auto reverse or anything on these. It even lights up. Tape. Looks like we got us a winner. One working Pioneer KP500. I've even got, to make this thing like a perfect nostalgic set, I've got these nice old Pioneer 6x9 speakers. And I know I've got two sets of Pioneer, we used to call them tune-ups, you know, they were like the size of a pack of cigarettes, and you put them in the corners of your dash. They were supposed to give some, I guess, some tune-up to the door speakers. Anyway, I'm very happy with this. My swap meet find, a KP500. Working. Isn't that awesome? The belt for this guy has finally showed up. So we're going to have a go at swapping it out and see if we can get this thing working. So the main belt, the one that goes around here, around the two flywheels and back, that one's easy to change. I've already had it on. The one that I'm wondering about is this one here. I have to figure out how to get this little gear out because, as you can see, the belt is trapped. It's trapped, so I literally have to take something apart to get that out. So I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to get that apart and get that little pulley out of there, and we can change that belt to get some tension back on it. Okay, so I found a belt that fit and I managed to get it squeezed in there. It was pretty tight, but I got it done. And you can see the new belt is a much larger profile than the old belt, so hopefully it'll last a lot longer. Now we're going to flip on the main belt and we can put this thing back together and see if it actually works. There we go, all back together. This is a similar length belt and kind of a similar setup to the one in our Alpine 7135. So that's what I can expect when I get to it, although it doesn't have the second belt that this one does. Now I'm going to put this thing back together and we'll power it up and see if the cassette deck wants to work. So the deck is all screwed back in. I put the face back on. Last thing I'm going to do is put the dielectric membrane and the bottom cover on it, just so there's no danger that we could short something out while we're goofing around with this thing. And then we'll try it and see if it works. Okay, so here we are. FM working. Put it on AM. Find my news station here. So there we go. Got AM working. Let's try the cassette deck. There you go. It's running. Reverse. Rewind. Fast forward. That's pretty good. We'll turn it down and pop it back out. Back on to FM. So that's good. We fixed another one. Very happy. I'm very happy indeed. During COVID, the mail has been really, really slow. But thankfully, today, finally, the belt for our Alpine 7135 showed up. So let's open up this box and see where we are at. See if I can remember how in the world to put the thing back together. And hopefully we can get it working. And fix it up. Another thing we got to fix, the lead for the antenna is tore off it. So we'll have to fix that too. Okay, there we go. We got our new belt installed. I'm going to put the two covers back on. And we'll set this aside while we fix the antenna lead in. Getting our new one ready to install here. I just pirated it from an old car radio that was kicking around. It was junk, so it gave this up to save the Alpine. It's a little bit short, so we'll see what we got to do to get it in. I may, rather than taking this all the way to the board, I may put a joint in it down here somewhere. We'll see what we got to do. Alright, hard to see with my crappy phone, but we got the antenna lead replaced. Everything's all soldered in. It all went smashingly well. Here's our Alpine 7135 all put back together. Now it's only a 2-channel output, but it sounds pretty good. It's just got two really crappy old 6x9s on it. I'm not getting very good AM reception on it. Pardon me, it's been a long day. But my antenna is not the greatest down here, so I'm not too worried about that at the moment. And now it's working good. So that's good. This is a really nice unit. These are big in the 80s, man. These were factory equipment in Lamborghinis, for crying out loud. I've gone ahead and taken apart my beloved old AudioVox deck, and I've got the tape deck out of it here, so we're going to see if we've got some belts that'll fit it, and I'll throw a set of belts in it just because this thing is about, oh brother, it's got to be getting near 30 years old, so it could use a new set of belts if I have them. Hopefully I can match it up with something. I don't have one that can replace this short one, but I do have a replacement for the long one, the main one that drives the cassette, so I'll pop that in, put it back together, we'll make sure she still works. Here's an interesting one. I'm not sure what it's out of. I can't find any marks on it. It's a huge old thing, but I'm not holding out a lot of hope that this one will work. But heck, all we can do is try it, right, and see what happens. I've got a 6-volt battery here and a speaker and an antenna, so we'll see if we can get her fired up. I don't know if this thing is even positive or negative ground. I have no idea. I've hooked it up negative ground, so I'm going to put the battery power on and we'll see what happens. Okay, battery power is on. Tuner doesn't seem to work. The push buttons work. Okay, just for a joke, I'm going to reverse the polarity and see what happens. We'll make it positive ground. So it seems to be completely dead. There is another possibility, and that possibility is that this is actually a 12-volt radio. So I'll wait. I've got one more 6-volt one to test. And then I'm going to go take the 6-volt battery outside and bring a 12-volt battery in. And we'll try it on 12-volt and see what happens. Now this one is a really cool piece. And I know that this one is 6-volt. This is a factory hi-fi radio from a 1951 Mercury. You can see here it's got a switch here, so you can change the tone, right? You've got normal, bass, high fidelity, low noise. What this does, I have no idea. So, and this thing's huge. Look at the size of this. This is a big radio. Anyway, we're going to hook this one up and see if it comes to life. So I've got it upside down now. I've got the covers off. You can see all the tubes and everything inside there. I had to open it up because it actually has like a twist lock fuse holder here that you plug in the power to. But I tried a few fuse holders that I had. None of them would actually plug into there. So I just took the cover off and hooked up directly on the inside side of it, which is just fine. I do have an inline fuse over there. This is hooked up. This is hooked up positive ground as it would have been in the 50s. You can see here the tuner. It works to manually tune. You can see it moving in there, but the push buttons don't seem to work. I'm not going to mess with that. I'm sure there's something quite simple keeping it from working. But anyway, I'm just curious to see if this thing will actually light up. Here you can see are the connections for the front and rear speakers. That's my next adventure. There's 2 connections there and 2 connections there. These 2 are for the front. These 2 are for the rear. The unit is also upside down, so the volume, which would normally the volume which would normally be on this side, is over here, vice versa, whatever. But upside down, I can see it. I can see if any of these tubes light up, and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna work right now on getting these speakers hooked up. All right. Well, it looks like a dog's breakfast, but here we go. I'm gonna put the power on, and we'll see what happens. The power is on. Don't see any tubes lighting up. Oh, no, that one there's lighting up. Look at that. But doesn't seem to be any sound happening here. Working the tuner back and forth. That tube seems to be dead. This one's lit up. Anyway, I don't have the rest of my life to screw around with this thing, so that's it, I guess. So much for that experiment. I'll go ahead, I'll close it back up, put it back together, and put it on eBay. Next up is this really cool one. It's a Motorola, and it's an accessory under dash, or you would mount this somewhere else in a truck or something for back in the day. It's 12 volt according to that and stuff that's written on it. So, and you can tell by the wire, nice thin wire. This is a 12 volt unit. So we're gonna hook this puppy up and see if it works. So this one's toast. It doesn't work. When I turned it on, a couple of the tubes lit up and then went out right away, and then that was the end of it. So don't ask me. It can go on eBay. Somebody will want it. This is a transistorized one. It says Crico on it, so it's from some kind of a Chrysler product. No idea what year or what it is, so we'll see if we can get this one cranked up. Not much happening with this one. I get some static out of it, but No reception. All right, now we're going to open up our old Pioneer TP900 FM Super Tuner with 8-track. I've had this one running before, but it needed a belt. So I ordered up a belt, and the belt came. So now we're going to open it up and change the belt. Alrighty, so this one's pretty simple. I just popped the cover off, and we have to remove this screw to take this little retainer off, and then the belt just goes around the flywheel and the motor. I put the new belt inside the old belt. You can see how badly it's stretched. So we'll just pop this on, throw it back together, and we'll give it a road test and see how it works. Well, here goes nothing. First, we'll put the power on. Power is on. Let's try the radio.
Rewatch that. You have a favorite show from the past?
Okay, tuner works.
Text me, let me know.
What do you say we try 8-track? What do we got? We got Christmas Disco Party. We've got Disco Dancing. And we've got The King. Let's try disco. Nothing says 8-track like disco. There we go. Now, can you change the tracks on this thing? Repeat. It's got a Dolby button. I wonder what that does. No idea. Eject, radio. Let's see what this does. Fast forward. Oh, that's a loudness button. So that's awesome. It works. Cool. Is there an eject button? Let's try that. Eject button works. So then once we eject it, we can put the radio back on. Whoops. Tune. I'll either clean it up and use it in one of my rides, or I'll clean it up and put it on eBay. Somebody will want this. So here we are. This is the last radio I have to have a look at. This is my Sanyo boombox. It's not the one that I had when I was a kid, but it's another one that I bought on eBay because I like this so much, and it kind of reminds me of being a teenager in Guildwood. So I bought this on eBay for cheap. What we find, the tuner works fine, but there's some issues with the tape deck. You'll see the pause indicator is on, even though it's not paused. And when you push the pause button, it ejects. Kind of odd. So does the eject button. And then when you try to play a tape, I've had a tape in there. Only one wheel turns, not the other one. And it does some strange things. So this wheel here seems to be stuck for some reason while this one turns. So we're going to open it up and see what we can find in there. It might just be a linkage problem. The other thing we have to do is replace this broken antenna. I've got a couple to choose from. I bought some on Amazon here. And I've got some good used ones from an old rabbit ear setup for a TV. One of them will work. So let's get started. First thing we'll do is pull the back up. Got it separated. I had to take out 7 screws, and then it sort of comes halfway apart, and you unplug those 3 plugs there to get it the rest of the way apart, and here it is. Now we've got the mechanism of it here, and we can work on it. I've gone ahead and flipped the tape deck back over out of the way so that I can change the belt. So I've taken this cover off. Now we have to take this off, and the belt is under here. So I'll pop that off and pop the new one on. Alrighty, so I've got the tape deck, I'm pretty sure, working now. Mostly it was suffering from lack of use, and it was stuck, a lot of it. So a little sewing machine oil and gently moving things back and forth, and I seem to have it all working now. Now both of these things turn, fast forward, rewind, play, everything seems to work. That's really good. So what I'm going to do now is, and the pause button works too. That's good, we got that fixed. Now I'm going to have a go at the counter. I don't know if it's going to be able to be saved. Something looks like it's broken here. And it definitely needs a new belt. So anyway, let me have a look at the counter. So the counter actually does work. I put a new belt on it. I found one in my collection of belts that fit nicely. The problem with the counter is that over on this end of it, there should be a little knob sticking up. That's what you push to reset it, and the little knob is busted off. But it works. I lubricated it up. I'm going to have a look now and see if I have anything around here that I could crazy glue on there to make a knob for it. So moving along on the repair of our counter, I found a couple of little pieces of plastic that I'm going to just make a new plunger for this thing. Alrighty, so this is my pin vise, or tiny little drill bit holder, I guess you could also call it. So I've gone ahead and put a hole through our workpiece here. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to make a corresponding hole in the side of the counter. That way I can sink a steel pin in through this, and it'll be good and solid when we put it together. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use some crazy glue. So we'll glue our steel pin in, we'll glue it all up, and everything should be good. The steel pin is just a hunk of paper clip. So we're going to go ahead and glue it up, and then we'll clamp it and let it sit for a while, and it should be good to go back into service. Alright, so there it is. It's all glued up. I've got it lightly clamped in the little vise, and we'll let it sit there for a while and set. While our glue is setting, I've brought the main body back over, and we're going to have a go at replacing the antenna. Alright, got the antenna changed. You know, it's got another stage. It goes up about this high, so that'll work. Alright, I got it on rewind. There you can see the counter working. Now we'll stop it and reset it. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to put it back together. So I have to remember I've got 1, 2, 3 plugs here. And I've got to make sure that the dial for the tuner gets engaged. And aside from that, it should just kind of go back together. I used to take my old one apart all the time. I was always goofing around, modifying it. I put extra jacks for speakers in it. I wouldn't even know how to do that stuff nowadays. I'm not going to mess with this one at all. I just want it to work properly as it should. Okay, all back together. Now I'm going to try the tuner, and then we'll put a tape in it. One thing I did notice, my fixed up reset button for the tape deck, I didn't make it quite long enough. So that's all right. I'll just attach a little piece onto the end of it and make it a tiny bit longer. And it'll be just fine. Okay, so let's go with the tuner. Okay, so that's good. I'm not sure if I'll get AM reception down here in the basement, but oh yeah, no problem.
Visit Rogers.com today.
Okay, so there's some music.
Fighting cancer.
Now we're gonna put a tape in it and see what happens. This doesn't have separate bass and treble, just tone.
Without holding you, without kissing you, without love.
Very happy. Okay, stop. Eject. We'll flip the tape over. Oh, wrong button, sorry.
It's got groove, it's got meaning.
Yep, awesome. It works. There's the last little job. I made a little extension for the plunger, for the tape counter. I'm going to go up and have my lunch now. I'll let that set up while I have lunch, and then I guess I can put this baby back into service. Well, so that's a wrap. That's the last one. We've run quite a few radios through here, and well, like Dale Earnhardt would say, we won some, we lost some, and we wrecked some. I feel bad about the ones that I wrecked, and especially my old Audio Vox in-dash. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I was screwing around with it, and I managed to hook it up backwards. I mean, I reversed the polarity of it, and something went pop inside it, and it never played again. I'm a little disheartened about that. I may actually send that out and have it looked at, and maybe it can be fixed. I don't think it's anything major, and I'd like to get that one working again. But aside from that, it's been a success. I learned a lot about fixing radios. There are some things you can do yourself, and some things that are probably best to send out to someone who actually knows what they're doing. Anyway, so I hope you learned something. I sure did. I'd appreciate it if you go down below there and hit the subscribe button. And you can even hit the bell. You'll get a notification anytime I put up a new video. You can like this video, leave a comment, share this video. Please like our Facebook page, Claremont Classic Garage. And until the next time, this is Kevin checking out. Thanks for tuning in to the Claremont Classic Garage. So long. And Happy New Year.